I will now read from The Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes, page 158, available to all. Persons familiar with biblical history hardly need a lesson about faith, for the 11th chapter of Hebrews is full of instances proving its sustaining power. Paul enumerates at length the experience of Enoch, Noah, Abraham, Moses, Gideon, Samuel, and the prophets, and many, many more, who through faith subdued kingdoms, wrought righteousness, obtained promises, stopped the mouths of lions, quenched the power of fire, escaped the edge of the sword, out of the weakness were made strong, waxed mighty in power, turned to flight armies of aliens, women received their dead, raised to life again. Our ancestors believed these records and embodied this living faith in their consciousness, thereby leaving us a great legacy of faith. Whatever they did, they were able to do because they grasped an instinctive faith and marched boldly on with it. Since faith is a quality unconfined to age or station, it may be ours today as much as it has been any man's at any time. We are not going through a harder time today, a longer or darker night than has ever been experienced before. It only seems darker because we have lost faith, the beacon light. If one will have faith in himself, faith in the fellow men, in the universe, and in God, that faith will light the place in which he finds himself. And by the light of this faith, he will be able to see that all is good. All is good. And the light shed by this faith will light the way for others. We become conscious of darkness only when we are without faith. For faith is ever, ever the light of our day and the light on our way, making that way clearly visible to us. Even when all others, it may be beset with obstacles in the ongoing rough. In order to have faith, we must have a conviction that all is well. In order to keep this faith, we must allow nothing to enter our thought which will weaken this conviction. Faith is built up from belief, acceptance, and trust. Whenever anything enters our thought which destroys in any degree one of these attitudes, to the extent of faith is weakened. Our mind must be steady in its conviction that our life is some part of God, and that the Spirit is incarnated in us. Affirmations and denials are for the purpose of vitalizing faith, for the purpose of converting thought to a belief in things spiritual. The foundation for correct mental treatment is perfect God, perfect man, and perfect being. Thought must be organized to fit this premise and conclusions must be built on this premise. We must keep our faith vital if we hope to successfully treat ourselves or others. All science are built upon faith principles. All principles are invisible, and all laws accepted on faith. No man has seen God at any time, nor has he seen goodness, truth, or beauty. But who can doubt this existence? Not only must we have complete faith in spirit and its ability to know and to do, but we must have complete confidence in our approach to it. We must not be lukewarm in our conviction. We must know that we know. We are to demonstrate that spiritual thought force has power over all apparent material resistance. And this cannot be done unless we have abiding confidence in the principle which we approach. Pure faith is a spiritual conviction. It is the acquiescence of the mind, the embodiment of an idea, the acceptance of a concept. If we believe that the Spirit incarnated in us can demonstrate, shall we be disturbed at what appears to contradict this? We shall often need to know that the truth which we announce is superior to the condition we are to change. In other words, if we are speaking from the standpoint of the Spirit, then there can be no opposition to it. It is only when we let go of all human will and recognize the pure essence of the spiritual principles incarnated in us, that thought rises above a belief in duality. We should constantly visualize our faith by knowledge that the eternal is incarnated in us, that God itself goes forth anew into creation through each one of us, and that in such a degree as we speak the truth, the Almighty has spoken, and so it is.